It was a usual quiet morning in the desert until the ground began to shake. In just August 2025, a caravan rolled straight out of Mexico and crossed into US soil. But this had nothing to do with a smuggling operation. This was serious, a call for war, and what happened next became one of the most secretive US military operations in history. Let's get started. But before diving into the details, make sure you've subscribed to our channel for more cool war stories. The Caravan. In the Sonoran Desert, it was pitch black that morning. There were no stars or moon, just silence. But in that silence, a massive plot was underway. Imagine suddenly 46 armored vehicles, including command trucks, modified SUVs equipped with mounted guns, and even anti-air systems, rolled north in perfect formation. Inside them, there were over 300 cartel gunmen, and not just street thugs. There were ex-soldiers from Central America, Colombian mercenaries, and a brutal strike unit called the Fantasma, aka the Ghost Wing. Salvador Eli Kuranza, their leader, was riding up front. You're witnessing a man with a $10 million bounty on his head. He's wanted for assassinations, trafficking, and countless cross-border hits. And now, he was invading the border. The caravan came with a simple yet insane mission: to hit the border checkpoint 13 and reclaim the lost fentanyl routes and send their dramatic message that the cartel is unstoppable. But what Kuranza didn't know was that the US had been listening for months. Every burner phone, satellite ping, and driver on his payroll was already under surveillance by the Department of Defense's Border Analysis Center. So, when the first tire touched US soil, the ground sensors did their job. And that's when a single phrase echoed through a secret command bunker near Tucson. Killbox Bravo activated. The trap springs. For 40 hours straight, elite US troops had been waiting under layers of dust and camouflage. Over 3,000 troops were divided into 14 tactical clusters, including Delta Force, SEAL Team 6, the 82nd Airborne, and Marine Raiders. No one made any move or spoke, and even their drones stayed grounded to avoid being spotted. The entire desert had become a war zone. But when the clock struck 4:43 a.m., the silence broke. A flash hit the skyline as HIMARS launchers fired 6 rockets at Mach 3 from 20 kilometers away. They hit the second command vehicle dead on, a steel-crushing explosion that turned the night into fire. Then, the snipers made their debut. They came from the Western Ridge, SEAL Team 6, taking their shots, and later guided rounds that sliced through even the bulletproof glass. There was chaos everywhere, including the sky, where 4 switchable 600 drones screamed down like comets. They smashed into machine gun trucks. In just 40 seconds, the front of the caravan started burning, and ammunition in violent bursts had lit up the entire desert floor. The cartel had no idea what hit them. To them, it felt like hell opened up beneath their feet. Invisible warfare. Then came the real weapon. It wasn't fire or anything, just silence. Suddenly, a surprise attack unfolded, and the US flipped the switch on something called REAPX. This electronic warfare technology shut everything down. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Cartel radios died, GPS was scrambled, and drones fell lifeless on the ground. Even Kuranza's private satellite uplink had gone. Their men were shouting, but no orders came through. Vehicles were circling, firing blindly into the dark. The desert became a maze of ghosts, and the cartel was trapped inside it. That's when Paladin joined M109 howitzers. Precision-guided shells slammed into the rear vehicles, which cut off their escape route. And below them, some mines exploded perfectly, not all at once, but in waves that caught every truck. By just 4:50 a.m., literally just 8 minutes into the battle, 1/3 of the caravan was gone. 11 vehicles were destroyed and hundreds were dead. Not a single US soldier was exposed amid the chaos. When the sky opened. Kuranza sat in his armored command truck, and he was panicking. He tried to send out orders to break the line, but every encrypted message he sent was intercepted. US intel decoded it, rerouted it, and fed him false confirmations. He thought his men were regrouping, when, in reality, they were just being led into a more deadly zone. Then, from 30,000 feet above, came the soundless threat: Phoenix X stealth drones. These experimental drones, developed by Lockheed, were circling silently for hours and were invisible to radar. When the command came, their bomb bays opened. There were 8 precise GBU-39 bombs dropped per drone, and just 70 seconds later, boom, impact. These explosions were so perfectly timed that they looked like they came straight out of a movie. The cartel's command hub, communication trucks, and heavy weapons all vanished within seconds. Witnesses later said it felt like a tactical execution, not a shootout. Before we dive into the death trap details, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more real-time war stories, hidden operations, and events that the news barely covers. Because what you're about to hear is something most people were never meant to know. The death trap. The battle was already over, with the desert still on fire. There was black smoke rising from miles away, and fentanyl containers had completely ruptured. This rupture led to spilling toxic clouds across the sand. The cartel gunmen were disoriented. They were suffocated, coughing, blinded, and even panicking. Their GPS was bugged, showed false routes, and every direction they turned led to a dead end. And that's because the US was manipulating its navigation with something called the MWK-11 satellite spoofing system. So when survivors tried to flee south, they weren't heading home. They were just driving straight into another ambush. 4 more switchable drones came screaming down, and each one targeted the drivers. Within minutes, their so-called escape caravan was just a wreck. The soldiers in the dust. For nearly 2 whole days, over 900 soldiers from the 82nd Airborne Division had been lying still in hidden trenches and rocky outcrops. When the explosion had faded, they finally got up and looked like ghosts made of sand and discipline. They were moving in fan formations, backed by light JLTV vehicles and portable jammers. Each squad had mini drones scanning for survivors. From the ridges, sniper teams picked off stragglers who tried to hide among burning vehicles. And even those who thought playing dead would save them couldn't fool the tech. The US had biometric UAVs scanning for heartbeats. It could detect anyone who was still breathing among the wreckage. If they were armed, they were instantly neutralized. There wasn't chaos anymore. It was clear and calculated precisely. The capture of El Lobo. Then, a transmission came through to command. High-value target detected. And this was none other than Victor El Lobo Cardenas, the mastermind behind the caravans. A man so ruthless that even the Mexican police have labeled him the death god of the cities. He'd run fentanyl networks from Phoenix to Los Angeles, and for years, he'd slipped through raids untouched. Except, not this time. A UAV was locked onto his vehicle, and a gun strike blew out the front wheel, resulting in the truck flipping with metal and dust everywhere. Within minutes, Delta Force was on site. They stormed the wreck, took out the guards, and dragged El Lobo alive. The vehicle had 2 encrypted SSD drivers filled with entire maps of trafficking routes and names of corrupt individuals across Mexico. The intel alone was worth more than the entire battle. It was a roadmap into the heart of the cartel empire. The desert that turned silent. Less than an hour after the first rocket hit, it was done. There wasn't a single cartel fighter that remained in combat condition. Survivors were captured and treated for their injuries, and not one American soldier had died. I repeat, not one. The battlefield was stretched over 3 kilometers, a wasteland of twisted metal, burning trucks, and the heavy stench of smoke and chemicals. When the sun finally broke over the skyline at 6:15 a.m., there wasn't any cheering or radio chatter. just silence, and the sound of fires still burned. By then, images were already spreading online. Columns of black smoke near Checkpoint 13, destroyed vehicles scattered across the sand, and one photo froze the world. The photo. A single US soldier was kneeling beside a wounded 17-year-old cartel fighter. The boy's face had burned, his AK-47 still clutched in his hands. The soldier gently pried it loose and handed him his canteen of water. It was the only picture from that night that showed anything human. No fire or drones, just a small act of mercy in the middle of hell. This image went viral really quickly, and it serves as a reminder that even in war, dignity gets to survive. The message left behind. For the Sinaloa cartel, the message could not have been clearer. The US doesn't need to invade or be threatened. It can wait in silence for as long as it can, plan in the dark, and strike with precision so exact that no one even predicts it. The cartel lost 46 vehicles, 6 fentanyl containers, and over 300 fighters in just 93 minutes. And this wasn't just any victory, but a declaration of power. Operation Killbox Bravo had proven one thing, though, that modern warfare doesn't have to be loud. It's silent, surgical, and maybe a little terrifyingly efficient. The aftermath. Hours after the battle, the desert was unrecognizable. You know how it is after wars. There's smoke, craters, and silence everywhere. By sunrise, mysterious recovery teams arrived. They weren't just wearing uniforms or badges. Their faces were hidden, and they spoke to no one. They collected every piece of metal and weapon with traces of what happened that night. Burned trucks were lifted onto black vehicles and driven away. Within hours, it started looking like the battle never happened. Locals who heard explosions saw roads blocked and drones banned from flying, while the officials simply said it was a routine border activity. But the soldiers fighting knew better. They say the truth can't be buried forever because somewhere in that desert, a single scorched cartel emblem still lies in the sand. So, what do you think America should be using invisible warfare like this on cartels and cross-border threats? Is this the future of modern combat that we shouldn't cross? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already.